So, but your dad was real open-minded about other religions, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he was friends with...
Oh, yes, yeah.
Oh, he used to buddy with the Catholic priests and, you know,
Yeah, there was, Catholicism was, not tolerated.
not tolerated?
No.
By Grandma.
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
Grandma the one
Oh,
who was
yeah,
really
no, he
bad?
was a big buddy of the Catholic priests.
Who?
Our Father.
No, I
Oh,
don't think
yes,
so.
yeah,
I don't think so.
yeah, particularly in Eugene,
Well, they may have mellowed some in Eugene, but,
forgotten those Catholic priests that, oh, yeah, sure he was.
So in some ways he was liberal, would you say?
well,
I don't think you can tag him exactly.
probably for the times, a little, but he was a doctrinaire Lutheran minister, and, fundamentalist.
He was?
Oh, yes, and no question about that, yes. No.
Do you think
down
he
the
was
line.
truly, to the end, a real believer in...
Oh, yes, oh, sure.
Isn't
Yes, that was one characteristic of both parents. That was their whole life.
Yes, it
That
was.
was their
True,
whole life.
True.
Yeah.
And whatever Papa did, as far as Mom was concerned, was right.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
As I've often told you, that, when Papa drove down the street the wrong way later in Eugene, that was okay. But when she got in my car and I was driving, it was a matter. Look out, Papa. 2 blocks down there's a car.
Yeah.
Watch it. Put the brakes on. Don't drive too fast.
Did she ever drive?
Huh?
She never
No,
drove.
No. But she would get in.
She didn't have time to do anything like that.
She'd get along and sit there alongside my dad in that old Buick and their Chevrolet that they later had, and pulled her hands and just serene, And he was a poor driver. He was a poor driver. Yeah. I don't know how he got by without killing a few people.
Well.
He was poor.
Well, in Seattle, is that when you got your first car?
Yeah.
But before that, did you have horse-drawn transportation?
No, public transportation.
Yeah, we used
Public
streetcar.
Everybody just used public transportation.
Yeah. Streetcars, trolley cars. Seattle had, at one time, had, the trolley cars up and down the hills like San Francisco had. Well, we could discuss Christmas in Seattle. You remember for one thing,
Oh, yeah.
it was always a good time because the church had to furnish these little boxes, the little cardboard boxes that you put together and
Filled with hard candy.
filled with hard candy. And the hard candy came in big tubs. And, this was, my gosh, here you had all this mix of hard candy. And you had licorice and some, raspberry and others, and all this kind of thing, different shapes. Well, how could a kid be in seventh heaven better than...
That's where you got that whole putting hard candy in our stockings, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a tradition, yeah.
Yeah.
And these boxes were given to all the kids in the Sunday school.
Yeah, and I don't know how many we did, 100 or 200 of those or anything. Yeah. And then Christmas morning, I can never forget that Christmas morning,
Yeah, right.
6:30 or 6 o'clock service there in the church. And then we ran home, and all the stuff was in the front room there. The tree was in the front room. All the presents were in the front room, but we
And it
weren't
was
allowed to
locked
go
up
in.
tight.
That's
Yeah.
right. like it just took Papa eons of time to come over there and get out of his robe and all of those things before he would throw open those doors and in Paul and I would shoot. I don't know how the rest of them got in there. And then the candles on the tree, and then they were real candles, you know. It was a thing, a little pinch thing that went on the limb, and then you put the candle down in there, and the candles were about 6 inches tall. And my mother would allow that to be lit for, goodness sakes, 3 minutes, maybe. Beautiful. And then she would call, Frank, put them out, you know, and Frank would have to run around and blow them all out there because she was so afraid of fire.
Well, and of course, a lot of houses were burned down, you know,
Yeah.
with those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
With that arrangement, those old dry Christmas trees, you know, with open flames.
Yeah.
But we each of us got a present, you know.
A present, yeah, and
Right.
a stocking full of oranges
Yeah.
and hard candy.
Yeah, we didn't get that, but
Or, yeah, those, what is it, you know, the easy peeling oranges, what do you call
oh.
them? You know, the thin skin
Yeah.
oranges,
Tangerine?
Tangerines, yeah,
Yeah.
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 And nuts.
Oranges, yeah,
We got nuts.
oranges, yeah, walnuts.
Oh, boy, I mean, that was a
Yeah.
thing to look
Yeah.
forward for all year long.
Was
I
that-
can remember this one little present I got that had, it was a thing that had a metal bar across there and had these little crows, about 6 little crows mounted on it that pivoted, you know, and you got a little pop gun with it, and it had the little corks on the end of it. So you get up there and bango when you knock the crows over. Now that's a present I remember. Probably all of $1.98, you know. But
Oh, no, that would be 59 cents.
well, it could be. I don't know, but yeah.
In contrast to the family across the street who was
Oh,
the
yes.
mortuary,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were probably getting electric train sets.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
that
sure,
is, yes,
sure.
you bet.
Sure.
Did you ask for something? Did you believe
Oh,
in
no,
Santa
no,
Claus?
no, that was not in our province.
Oh.
No, this was something that came from heaven.
Gosh, I remember when that little girl told me that there was no Santa Claus. She was a nasty little girl.
They're always nasty, the ones that tell you that.
Yeah, and she was fat. I don't remember her name, but I remember she told me there was no Santa Claus, and I punched her in the stomach, you know. She ran home crying, and then I went to Paul and said, you know, whatever her name was, told me there wasn't any Santa Claus, and he was, you know, he had to face up to it finally to tell me that there was no Santa Claus. I was just destroyed. I was destroyed for 3 or 4 days. No Santa Claus?
Yeah. But I tell you that my wife, Janet, when she was a child and that same situation came up, the little girl told her that, no, her parents told her that there wasn't any Santa Claus, and so Janet went home to her mother and cornered her and said, now you just got to tell me, is this true or not? And her mother admitted, no, there wasn't any Santa Claus. And so Janet said, well, how about Jesus Christ and all those other guys?
That's great.
Yeah.
You know, Cammie, when she was real little, questioned whether there was a God or not. And the way she figured out to answer that question was look him up in the encyclopedia. If God was in the encyclopedia, then he existed,
Well,
which
sure.
he's not,
He
of course.
exists.
He's not the encyclopedia. So,
He's in Who's Who.
Yeah, if he makes time from Time magazine, he's all right.
Right.
Well, I don't know. Have we run out of stuff in Seattle?
you can't have run out of stuff, all the details, but I was, all that waterfront area, I mean, you live pretty far up on a hill, and you
Yeah.
got, taken trolleys and gone down, and was that downtown? Was that, you know, that downtown area, was it the same downtown?
Oh, yeah.
And
sure.
Pike Place
Mhm.
Market
Oh,
was
yeah.
there?
Oh, sure, sure. Because we used to go down, you know, do our grocery shopping downtown, down in the public market, you know, down there. That was, you know, still
Yeah.
a great place for produce and fresh fish and stuff like that.
Pop always bought the roast down there for Sunday
Yeah.
dinner. Yeah.
And, but well, you know, it was a lot of stuff to carry, so we took public transportation, but, the streetcars, but, we used to go downtown from our place to go to a movie. You know, there were movies all over.
Well, there was a Broadway theater over there.
Oh,
We used
yeah,
to
the
walk
Broadway
over that.
theater, yeah, the
That
Saturday
costs
afternoon
money.
matinees.
Huh?
That costs money, you guys got to go to the movies?
A dime.
Yeah, but it, you know, yeah, it's a nickel or a dime.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids,
And there was the Venetian Theater.
yeah.
Remember that? Theaters were, you know, relatively,
Well, terribly popular, of course.
well, not only that, but I mean,
Yeah.
they spent a lot of money on making these very gaudy things, or very,
Yeah,
you know. And of course, and these were silent movies, you know.
but as kids, we used to walk clear downtown, backly to the waterfront, to go to a movie. You know, when
Yeah.
Douglas Fairbanks Jr.
Oh,
Zorro and some of
Oh,
those.
Douglas
Great
Fairbanks even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or I mean, not junior, but senior, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I used to sit there in that Broadway theater and chew on my knee.
Oh,
God, my eyes that big.
right.
And here they were playing this organ, you know, they played the organ in the thing there because there was no other sound, you know, and the woman learned to, as the, you know, as the thing built up, she would get going. Cooper. Yeah. Oh, that was really and they had cereals, you know, in the movies, particularly over at the Broadway theater.
Yeah.
And a cereal was one in which they
It was
played
just-
it so long,
Yeah,
and then
episodes, different episodes each week.
right, but
so-
they got up to a point where, you know, the train was gonna run into the whatever it was, or
Oh.
run over the, and then they cut it off. And so next week you had to come back to see what happened, you know, and then some other thing. Oh yeah, that was a very big thing.
Was your home full of books? You read a lot, you said you read a lot.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
assume you read a lot, did you?
Oh, yeah, yeah, but, the public library,
Yes.
here again, it was clear downtown. But, we thought nothing of walking clear downtown, to get our library books and bring back an armload, practically every weekend.
Was that a family?
Generally, yeah, there,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know, Margaret had too
I
much
don't
time to
know,
read
Margaret,
it.
yeah, she didn't seem to be into it much, but from Grace on down, I think, it was a pretty steady habit.
Yeah, yeah. You always had some books, you know, to read in the evening. I mean, there was no television, and it wasn't until later in Seattle that we even got a radio, you know, and first radio we had was a crystal set. And in that, you didn't connect any of your electricity, but it was a thing that you had to find the little spot on the crystal, and then the thing came in, and you had earphones, And if more than one had to listen, you put the earphones in a bowl, and then you listen to the reflection of the sun. And the things that came on in the radio even after that, Amos and Andy and various things like that, I mean, the streets were quiet outside when Amos and Andy came on. That was a nightly thing or what? I guess it was, wasn't it?
Oh, I think once a week, yeah,
And
because,
there were other like Amos and Andy that there was a young couple of some kind that was on there, you know. You remember what that was titled? Amos
No.
and Andy had,
they were, yeah, like two colored men,
Yeah.
presumably, yeah.
but they were whites, you know, but they were,
That's
They
him.
were?
Yeah,
I remember Amos and Andy. That must have had a long running.
it did.
From
Yeah,
Seattle? Oh,
yeah,
yes.
because it was still going strong for a long time in Seattle.
Kingfish.
Machines.
What were the other characters? Kingfish, oh, I
I don't remember.
don't know.
But I do remember it.
Yeah, but these things, you know, were very important people. Just didn't ever go out when these things, when your particular thing was on. Well, I mean, you
Yeah, you were glued to it.
you bet. You
Did they
bet.
have cowboy things? And was that the age of cowboys and Indians?
Yeah,
You were into
Yeah,
that
Tom
Sure.
Mix and all that
Sure.
sort of thing. You bet. You bet.
on the radio?
No, that was, you know, that was a show,
yeah,
picture shows.
yeah.
But Tom Mix was in a lot of silent stuff, or all the silent, I guess. And the first radio we got, you remember, was a Radio Throat Nutridyne.
Okay, yeah.
And you had to adjust 3,
Oh, the knobs, yeah.
yeah, to get anything, you know. Very careful, had to be technically just, you know. And you know, those things were valuable. It wasn't everybody that had a Radio Throat Nutridyne.
Well, how did you guys get a radio?
I don't know how we got it, but we got it.
Were things donated to you? Were rich people in the congregation give you things?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
that was a great tradition of that, the charity to the church, you know. And, yeah, on holidays, gosh, they would bring turkeys and geese and things like that, and give the family money, and there was a great tradition of that, and the family, you know, partly depended on charity.
Yeah.
Well, that must have been a pretty big congregation.
It was a big one, yeah, it was a pretty good sized congregation. It was a beautiful old church, really, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah, the frame, it was a frame building, but it's replaced.
But I can remember all the windows, the leaded
Yeah,
windows.
stained glass windows.
Yeah, stained glass, beautiful things.
Yeah, well ornamented, yeah.
Were you,
High church fashion, yeah.
were you all in the choir? Were you all, was that?
Not in Seattle, I
That was
wasn't.
it, that was it.
No.
No, well, we weren't, but then, you know, Henry Dean and Margaret. Margaret always played the organ, and yeah, even Grace, I think was.
Yeah,
in the
Grace
choir.
was in the choir, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But Bud, it wasn't, I
He
don't
wasn't
think.
at that age, but he was then when we got to Eugene, yes.
Yeah.
So there was really a lot of music in the family? I mean, was that
Oh,
a
yeah,
national thing?
yeah. I mean, the older, well, let's see, Grace and Margaret played the piano, and of course Janet ended up playing piano. My mother knew she could play the piano, but she never had a chance.
Yeah. Never had time.
I mean, yeah, he didn't have time.
Yeah.
But she could read music and play the piano.
Well, who taught them? Did she teach the girls? Did she teach?
Yeah, they had some instruction, yeah.
Yeah, and Dean played the piano.
Yeah, that's right, he did.
Dean played,
Yeah, he did.
and Bud finally learned a few
Yeah, he
chords.
taught himself. Yeah,
Big ones. I bet with his foot on the pedal.
yeah,
I
right.
like the pedal too. Well, so nobody played anything, any other instruments besides the organ and the piano?
Well, you took up the fiddle, didn't you?
Yeah, my mother insisted that I take lessons on the violin, but it wasn't taking, so I dropped it, yeah.
Yeah.
No, was there ever frivolous piano playing, or was it all religious or classical?
Well,
Was
it was classical.
There was
Well, that's
some classical, but my popular music.
that's
sheet
right.
music,
Yeah, you're right, Paul.
Yeah, sheet music, all the old pop
When you knew
bars.
Susie like I knew Susie, or whatever,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff,
Right,
or
yeah.
Bye Bye Blackbird, and
Would you all gather around the piano and sing?
Oh,
Was
Yeah,
that
there
a-
was quite a,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of that,
yeah,
yeah.
you just
a lot
say
of that.
shit. And as a little kid, I knew all those songs, the whole thing, and I'd walk through the place there and sing it as I'd go by and quit when I'd go out the door.
You know something that Margaret told me on her tape, Paul, was that Grandpa used to tell you guys stories, and they involved chipmunks, and that you had a little brown corduroy chipmunk suit.
Oh, now you're clear back in,
Pennsylvania?
yeah, in Greenville,
Really?
yeah. Bob and I had companion chipmunk suits, and I think they're, well, they were the stripe epaulets on the shoulders, and that's where that, yeah, that came from. I think there is a picture of Bob and me together,
Yeah, I think so, but I don't remember.
sitting there with these dress-up suits
Yeah.
with these stripes on the shoulders.
Well, you mean they were made to be chipmunk suits?
Oh, no, they were just called that.
Oh, they were just
Yeah.
called chipmunk suits.
Yeah. No, they was
Oh. But they didn't have anything to do with the story, telling chipmunk stories?
no. My father did a great deal of telling stories when we were going to bed. Yeah. And he was full of it. He could make up stories. He did a great deal of that, or frequently, anyway.
Did they have a moral, religious
Sometimes they did. They had a very strong
message?
things, but sometimes they were just stories.
Well, you know, Margaret's memory is he did that to you three, and he didn't do that to the older ones.
Well, yes, I think that's true, yeah. Because it was usually associated with for a great deal of time, we went to bed, the three of us at the same time. And so he
Well,
got
you-
in more of the storytelling.
Yeah, you
I think
remember in
that's-
Eugene when we had that stove upstairs in the
Oh, God, yes.
in the one back room, we had a wood stove, and so we would crank that thing up in the evening because it was the only room that was really warm, and our beds were out on the sleeping porch, which was outside this door, out of that room. So we three kids would get in there and get warm because our beds outside there were damp, cold, and we would
Yemen, yeah.
get next to the door, and when somebody had the urge finally, we'd turn the door and we'd slam out there, jump into the thing, like this, Gee.
They never warmed your beds? It was
Oh, no,
no.
how'd you warm it?
No.
I don't know,
Like
what's-
blankets or-
Putting hot water bottles in them or
Oh,
something?
no.
No?
No.
Never know.
Oh, there were hot waters available sometimes, but it was just too damn much trouble to.
God,
You
in the
know, you'd have to go
winter?
downstairs and heat the water to fill the hot water bottle, you know, all this business.
Well, I think you had to be sick, because I don't
Yeah,
remember ever
right,
getting
yeah.
hot
Why?
water. Huh?
You're allowed to be sick because then you got a hot water bottle
Yeah.
out on the sleeping
Yes.
porch?
I guess so, but I,
Well, and sometimes you got to sleep inside.
but I don't, that was a, I mean, that, horrible. Oh, I
Well,
really,
you
but it was nice in the summertime, because it was out there, there was a roof over it, and they were kind of canvas panels that kept the rain out. And
That was it? You mean there weren't screens? It wasn't a screened porch?
No,
just kind of canvas panels that, so that the rain didn't pour in there. And all.
Whoa! Was it an old fraternity house? Is that what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. Oh, sure.
So it was meant for a sleeping porch. It
Yeah.
wasn't just a porch.
It was meant for sleeping porch.
yeah, it was part of the,
Of course,
Right.
actually, in the university, I slept on a sleeping porch.
Did you?
I slept on a sleeping porch.
yeah, it's kind of dormitory arrangement. And you didn't know that house was a Sears Roebuck house that was ordered out of a catalog, and they shipped it out from the Middle West, board by board and stuck together.
Really?
Yeah, and there's one just exactly like it, on 11th and Patterson.
Yeah.
There is now?
Yeah, it's the same exact pattern. And now they fixed that one up. And it's a beautiful thing, the Calkins house.
The what?
The Calkins house.
I know which one it is.
C-A-L-K-I-N-S, yeah.
The one, the university owns it now.
No,
No?
it doesn't, it's had several,
For a while, there was a
Benches.
restaurant in there and.
yeah, but
something.
that didn't go on. So a couple of doctors that bought it for an office.
Was that true? I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
they own it now.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's right across the street from the Patterson Towers.
Yeah. It's right, but it's not kitty corner, it's right across the street.
Yeah, across the-
Yeah, it's in the
That-
southwest corner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's exactly the same Sears
It's a
Roebuck
Sears Roebuck
house.
pattern house.
Yeah.
Ooh, so I could take a picture of that. Okay, so you're totally done with Seattle?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. That's
Do
it.
you remember the trip from Greenville to Seattle?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we had just 2 stops that I remember. Then we stopped in St. Paul because my grandmother lived there, and Uncle Harry, his wife, and also my mother's sister, I can't remember her name.
It's in there.
Briefly, and then we stopped at Uncle Harry's house in Idaho, and he had a ranch. And that's the first time I ever got on a horse. Yeah, see, I was 4 then. But then we came on to Seattle. This rented a boxcar and to carry all of our furniture out. And of course, it took it about a month to get out after we arrived there in Seattle.
To get the
To get-
furniture?
Yeah, to get the furniture.
Oh.
Yeah.
So did Grandpa come out ahead of time or something?
Yeah,
Came out.
all 10 of us came
Oh,
out in
girl.
one go.
But if you were 4 and Daddy was 2, then Grandma must have been pregnant with Janet.
Yeah. Yes, I assume so.
Well, maybe initially, but
Yeah.
not very far along if she was.
No,
because,
that's right.
see, it took 2 years. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I was 2 years old when we left there or 2 years old when we got to Seattle. But
Well, how long did it take you to get to Seattle?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it probably took it, with a couple of stops, I mean, it took a couple of weeks. But,
A couple of weeks?
well, it was during wartime, you know, and it wasn't very pleasant.
Friday, April 19th, when is Janet's birthday?
frankly, I don't know.
You don't either. You have your birthday, yeah. You have Grace's birthday, Paul's birthday, your birthday, and you don't have Janet's.
Oh.
But what was a birthday like during those times?
What?
A birthday, how would they celebrate your birthday? I mean, did you have a birthday cake and a present? Did you get a present?
I don't think so.
Not much of anything.
Did you make a big deal about it?
No, I don't think so.
No, I can't remember anything particular.
No. No, if they weren't religious holidays, you know, it wasn't a big deal.
But Halloween then was not, well, it seems like you two would have been into Halloween in a big way.
I don't
Well, we
remember.
did a little of that stuff.
In Seattle?
Making noise things and
Did you have trick or treating? Was it?
soaping windows and stuff like that. We probably weren't quite old enough to really to be having stuff. But yeah, we made a pass at that. And then the windows in our house got waxed and soaked every Halloween by some kids.
Yeah, that was a thing that was done back in those days, but I don't remember doing any of it really very much.
No, ours was more
Not in
making little
Seattle.
noise things to make noise on people's windows and scare them.
Yeah, there was some of that. You had some kind of a thing that you
Yeah, I did that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
pulled this
Well,
on.
yeah, you
Rattle.
had a spool which you cut notches in the edge of the spool, and then wrapped a cord around it. And it was on a stick, an axle. You could hold the stick up there and pull the cord,
Yeah,
and it would ram.
yeah,
Oh.
big
on the
deal.
Yeah.
We did a thing where we just took a pin that was bent and attached thread to it and put it on somebody's screen. And then we did something. We rubbed it in some way and it would make that kind of noise. I remember we did it to Darlene Thorpe's house.
Oh,
Like Darlene.
yeah.
Well, you know, I've never asked you about Easter. Easter was a real religious thing, and no, did you hide eggs? Did
Oh,
you?
yeah, we
Well,
did.
see that, yeah, we had Easter egg baskets. I'm sure that was principally it. I don't think there was any of the funny stuff much.
Oh, yeah.
Well, see,
oh,
there
yeah,
were some marshmallow
sure.
bunnies, yeah.
You bet, and
Yeah.
and the seemed to me, it was my impression that the candy Easter eggs back in those days were far superior to what we get today. I wouldn't eat one of those things we get today.
Oh,
But I thought
no.
those candy Easter
Well,
eggs
they
were
were,
something.
you know, they coated, well,
Well, they were coated with,
yeah, I don't know that, what do they call
and they didn't
it?
use that
Candy.
jelly bean type thing, you know, they were
No.
some kind of a malty type
Yeah,
filling in them.
yeah.
They were very good. We didn't have chocolate
No.
Easter eggs very much, but we had these other colored ones, you know.
Yeah, they were inexpensive. Yeah.
Did they hide them?
And we
Did
hid
they
them,
hide your eggs in your house?
not in the house, no,
No.
but they did outside.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, and, you know, we ranged there almost a quarter of a block there, you know, with the church
Yeah, that's right.
and the parsonage, and so we had a great deal of area
Huge.
to hide things, you know, hide the something to
Candy
play
eggs
and.
outside?
Huh?
Candy eggs outside?
Oh, yes,
After church on Sunday?
I presume it was, yeah, or I presume it was, yeah.
You mean they sat out there? I mean, but think about it. How did your dad do that? Or your mom or Margaret?
Probably Margaret, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Probably Margaret.
Yeah. probably
Margaret and Grace probably,
Yeah.
imagine.
What was the relationship between your mom and dad? Was it real loving?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it was a loving relationship. Yeah, I remember him in the middle of the day holding her on his lap.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And they were, up in years then. And of course, she loved it. She loved it. Yeah, they were affectionate and yeah, very sexually active, obviously. Yeah, it was.
Did they say I love you? Did they tell you guys? Did they verbalize their feelings towards you?
Not much.
No, I don't
No,
think he
no.
did particularly, but
No.
she did somewhat, I think.
No, more in actions, I think, but very little verbalizing the sentiments, yeah.
Were they physical with you? Did they hug you and hold you on their laps?
When my mother had time, yes, she did. She did. But as far as time was concerned, it was infrequent. Yeah.
Let's break this thing up.
Take a break?
Yeah.